This Nashville Predators broadcast is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Nashville. By Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. By Fifth Third Bank. Stop by Fifth Third Bank to learn how you can be the seventh man. Fifth Third Bank. Member FDIC. And by Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt.
Here we are inside Nationwide Arena. Predators and Columbus Blue Jackets just about ready for the drop of the puck here tonight. Let's get to our Toyota starting netminders, Stu.
Pekka Rinne for the Nashville Predators. 13th straight start for Pekka Rinne. Longest current active start. 21-6-1 on the year. 1.87 goals against. .933 save percentage. His last time out, we told you a little bit about that. He stopped 22 of 27 in an overtime win at Minnesota. That's a 6-5 game. Other end, we told you a lot about that man also. Sergei Bobrovsky, 13-8-2, 2.61 goals against on the year, .921 save percentage. His last one, another big one, 39 of 41 shots he stopped against the Blackhawks. That's a 3-2 shootout win.
Underway from Nationwide as the puck deflected over to Matt Cullen. Fisher driving the net. Cullen shot one up high off the glass. Colin Wilson playing left wing on that forward combination as the puck was backhanded out of the trapezoid by Cullen. Atkinson pulled it away for Columbus. And Matthias Ekholm coming down the boards kept it in play for Nashville. Puck is set back toward Wilson, but rolled away from him as Rinne is out to hold on.
Nice attempt by Fisher to find Wilson in the high slot. Foligno is covering Wilson. Sorry, that's Dubinsky covering Fisher.
And there's a shot that just deflects off the goalie's stick. Gee, a little surprise shot again coming down the right wing.
Just noticing Dubinsky goes off the ice, kind of labors off the ice. Looked like he might have twisted something as he's coming Fisher. We'll keep an eye on that.
Putting it up the board, scaling it out, Dalton Prout. Backhand feed across, and that shot is stopped there. Morin got the shot, but the rebound is put in the net at 116. Nick Foligno puts the Jackets out in front, 1-0.
Yeah, he's red hot, like Foligno is. Traipsing down the right side, just lobs it into the mid-slot, recognizes he's got somebody filling that lane, going hard, and that's Johansson. The Johansson rebound squirts right off the pads of Rinne. Foligno hangs on. Patience gets Rinne to commit. Rinne is sprawling. He puts it in behind him, and it looks like we're going to have a review.
Hold the phone because the net was off its pegs. Might be another case of premature celebration.
Exactly right, and we showed you Coach McCarthy on the Predators bench was on that right at the start.
The overhead look.
You see the initial play at the net.
Yeah.
Rinne is pushing off to track with Foligno. As he pushes off, he dislodges the net. And I'll tell you, because it's a Nashville player pushing off and creating the dislodged net, not sure you're going to be able to overturn this goal.
It's an old Dominic Hasek trick. As referee Kelly Sutherland was at the penalty timekeeper's bench in consultation. Minute 16 in.
Upon video review, the Nashville net is off his post before the puck has been shot, therefore no goal.
Wow. Yeah, this is interesting. And here's what the officials and Toronto are looking at. You can disallow a goal under this circumstance when the net becomes displaced accidentally. That's rule 78.5. There's no intention in Rinne dislodging this net. Yes, he's pushing off, but goaltenders operate that way. So accidental dislodging of the net, and the Preds sure are the beneficiaries of the way that rule reads.
Are they ever? And the fans, even the players on the ice, still looking up at the replay on the scoreboard here. and I don't blame them for being disconsolate at that. Huge break for Nashville. Puck goes around Wisniewski. As Kevin Connaughton started the year with Dallas. Coming on, that shot is blocked away. The shot taken by Alexander Wenberg, with all the injuries just recently recalled by the Blue Jackets. Wisniewski pressing the battle on the board. Predators pull the puck away. As the puck came across, and now taken in by Gabriel Bourque. Bourque on. The other wing is Eric Nystrom as it's tapped toward the net and covered up easily by Bobrovsky. And we go to our 4 keys to tonight's game.
Full disclosure, Pete, I'm going to refer back to a couple of ex-Philadelphia Flyer coaches for these two, one of which is Peter Laviolette. Here comes number 1. Inside position at the net front. You got to get in and around the net front inside of those defenders to create traffic on Bobrovsky. Number 2 is battles. This is the Fred Shero. Arrive first at these battles and be in bad humor when you arrive there. Win those, control the game.
Ellis on the faceoff win by Yarncroke. Off target there. And this is the line on which James Neal starts the game. With Beck on the left wing and Neal on the right. Up the wall. Held in there, skated on by Jack Johnson. Johnson swoops behind the net, was thinking wraparound, and it bounced off the pad and came on out. Now our injuries and scratches brought to you by Vanderbilt Sports Medicine. Anton Volchenkov, Derek Roy, Victor Stahlberg out for Nashville, Paul Glostad on injured reserve. I'm just going to read those who are scratches for Columbus. Otherwise, it's a cast of thousands from a galaxy far, far away. Jordan Leopold, Cody Golubev, and Sean Collins are scratches tonight. You recognize some of the other names. And now James Neal on the bench after his first shift.
1 game due to illness. Neal is out of the mix. Smith moves up into that spot. Smith, for the time being at least, maintains that spot. He was just that good on the first line. Ribeiro, Forsberg on the left side.
Puck is swept across by Colin Wilson. Trying to break free Matt Cullen, but it's flipped back over at center.
Fisher passed that firmer if he had an opportunity to do so. That creates the line, the turnover rather, at the Columbus blue line.
Mooring battling furiously down low. He got acquired by Columbus in a deal from Chicago for the young defenseman Erickson. As they were desperate, absolutely desperate for some healthy forwards here. Dump behind the Nashville net. Both sides will change up. Matt Calvert, the man in deep. Cam Atkinson follows up. And they are centered by Steve Dubinsky. Ribeiro deep in his territory. Up around Calvert. Forsberg shoots it in from center ice. And on Craig Smith. And then Ribeiro. His battle with Fedorchuk. Passed out in front and off the goaltender. That quick shot. So Bobrovsky answers that challenge. His first of the night.
Terrific feed from down low by Craig Smith. Finds Forsberg.
Calvert, his second try, deflected over the net. Trout, the defenseman, came down low, but the Predators come away with possession. Ribeiro did not quite control it, and it comes in for Rini to hold up for the D as the Blue Jackets get a change. Coming in deep for Columbus is Adam Cracknell. Cracknell and Bowl on with Michael Chaput at center ice, as this will be an icing against the Predators.
Coach Laviolette, native of Franklin, Massachusetts, just the second head coach in franchise history. He's one of just 8 men employed at the start of this season as a head coach who has won the Stanley Cup. There's Coach Richards at the other end, former head coach of the team the Preds just played, the Minnesota Wild. He's there 2009 through 11. Named head coach May 2012 of the Blue Jackets, and for just the second time, Coach Richards took these guys to the postseason.
Some room there for Nystrom. That rebound just jabbed away at the last by Bobrovsky as the Blue Jackets clear their zone. So let me see. Do the Blue Jackets lose credit for a shot on goal when the goal's negated?
That's a great question. I suspect so.
As the puck trying to play it down low. Is Nystrom taking away Jokinen. Olli Jokinen to his point man. Seth Jones a shot through the traffic, and Bobrovsky is able to see it all the way in. 4:44 gone in the first.
You like Seth taking that shot. What you don't like about the Preds is more traffic. There are white jerseys in and around the Columbus net front. You want people directly in that shooting lane in the sight lines of Sergei Bobrovsky.
The kick out Järnkrok. So Neal will take the draw. Järnkrok for Weber. Rister, and that one had to hurt as he got a piece of Trop with that. Rory Trop blocked that wrist shot by Weber, and that still seemed to stagger him. Järnkrok giving it back to the D as the Predators break out. Josi sweeps it in. Josi goes off. Coming on, Seth Jones again. Puck held by Neal. Järnkrok to the corner with Johnson. Johnson knocks him down on the sidewall. David Savard. And then banked off the wall down ice. Jack Skilly. He came here late in the preseason period. Puck was bobbled for a moment there. Seth Jones skates away from Skilly and comes up ice. On his right side was Fisher, but the pass is picked off by Nick Foligno. Foligno tried to pass it across for Teuton, taken out now by Cullen. Just tried to settle it down low and ahead of Morin. As the defensive combination of Josi and Weber on the ice, and Josi carrying the puck. Josi cuts in around Foligno. His shot deflected up into the netting. 6:04 off the clock here in the first. You may have thought the Blue Jackets had taken a 1-0 lead, but no, on Memorex they said no way.
Reds fans, it's time for Hot Ticket Time, presented by Hunt Brothers Pizza. Right now, purchase a ticket for the game on Saturday, December 27th against Philadelphia, and receive a free parking pass for the Pinnacle Garage, a $15 value. To order, call 615-770-7800 or visit NashvillePredators.com/Hot Ticket Time. This offer is good through the end of tonight's game, so order right this moment.
Off the face-off, Columbus zone shot put right on by Forsberg. Then he did a little Harlem Globetrotters again between the legs.
Can you imagine that? Back through the legs, trying to get it up and over a sprawling Bobrovsky. Can't get it to go. As importantly, Ribeiro gets another whack at it. Second chance.
Puck comes back away now for Cam Atkinson. Almost taken by Smith. Backhand try stopped as Dubinsky got the try away, and it's sort of a pinball in front of Pecorino.
You have heard me describe him this way, resourceful, and that's exactly what you see here. Look at that, right back and through the legs. Tough break, though. He's at a bad angle. Tough for him to get it back all the way to the net. You'll see he's retreated away from the net at that point, and the angle doesn't work. But Ribeiro with another follow-up opportunity. He keeps the play alive in spite of the fact that he can't get it on net. Smart player, number 9.
And the face-off pulled back by Morin. Knocked away Foligno, then Wisniewski a shot. Gloved by Pecorino. 6:39 gone in the first. And that shot that went into the net initially and then was overruled was pulled off the stats as a shot on goal.
I wonder if it survives as a shot attempt. Perhaps not.
We'll have to talk to the Corsi people.
It doesn't qualify as a miss or an attempt block, so perhaps it just evaporates.
It didn't exist.
It becomes a non-play.
Figment of our imagination. Quick shot. Rainey makes the save, and it caroms off the stick into the netting. So Connaughton got the shot, sort of handcuffed Rainey, but he was able to make the stop.
Mike Fisher back into the lineup. Several games back under his belt since that return from a major injury, ruptured Achilles tendon. The good news is there's no news there, right? He's healthy, taking on more workload as time goes on. You like that about Fisher, makes a big contribution.
Hansen winning the draw. Wisniewski's shot broken up off a skate in front. deflected over the shoulder of Cullen and Wisniewski. And then Wilson comes over. It comes back for Josi. His wrister deflected. Bobrovsky had no idea where the heck it was, and he was fortunate it landed outside the blue ice. So a near miss there for Nashville. Ryan Johansson has the puck. Gives it off to Connaughton. His shot blocked. Fed just as quickly out of there by Shea Weber. David Savard to the line, and Johansson wants to go on to the change, and Foligno chips it in. Jared Bull to the far side. Chaput got a stick on it. Tipped up over him into the Nashville bench. 7:42 gone.
Talked tonight about the importance of winning battles. Colin Wilson does that very thing. He's going to collect the puck inside the Nashville zone through neutral ice. He's under pressure. In spite of the pressure, gets that puck in deep. Cullen with the turnover. That'll actually lead to a high-grade scoring chance. Almost drops in behind Bobrovsky.
Here's Barton. Red Jones had a little trouble taking that bounce. Bartley thus will get another shot at it. 0-0 here with 8 minutes gone, first period. Chaput pounces on the puck. His try blocked from point of origination. David Savard fades back, passes across in front of Eric Nystrom. And now taken by Cracknell, and it deflects in on the Nashville net with the Blue Jackets crashing down low. Jack Skilly held up.
Who's enjoyed a better December than these Columbus Blue Jackets? Clearly the hottest club in the NHL. 8-0-1, that record, .944 winning percentage.
And these comparisons are all time.
Yeah, we're not talking about today's teams. We're not talking about current tense. We're talking about all-time December NHL clubs.
That gives you a little perspective there.
Historical context even.
Yes. I like that. Quick pass out from the corner, comes all the way back for Prout. Now heading low, and the shot rang around off Jack Skilly. Prout dropped for Skilly. They cross in the trapezoid area, and that ends up with the puck on the stick of Roman Josi. Calle Järnkrok lugs the puck in for Beck. Beck dropped it back. It comes out for Ekholm, and that shot gloved and dropped by Bobrovsky.
I think the initial play is lay that off back to Neal. It's out of Neal's reach. Fortunately, Matty Ekholm, great job, follows up, shores up the line, and actually makes that bid at the net. Bobrovsky handles it and bunts away the rebound.
Otherwise, that could have been one of those drop passes coaches really hate. Calvert into his skates, regains control. Now that shot taken by Atkinson, blocked right back to the blue line. Wisniewski tried to pass it across, and that was blocked by Philip Forsberg. Angled over for Atkinson, but offside Columbus. 9:43 off the first period clock. Shots favoring Nashville 7-6. And with the team that has been really struggling to score goals, losing a goal like that one early had to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, without question. James Neal reinserted back into the Nashville lineup, out a single game due to illness. Interesting talking with Coach Laviolette about that very thing today. He'll start on the third line. Järnkrok may move up or may move him more minutes depending on how this night goes.
And could do some of that if there were to be some special team situations that arise. Chopped away from Morin by Weber. Sent back into the Nashville zone and played off the end board. Rene leaves for Shea Weber. Josi to center. Fisher shovels. Cullen with a shot. Bounced up perhaps off the bottom of Bobrovsky's mask, and then he covers up. 10 minutes and 17 seconds of the first period have been played, and the Predators and Blue Jackets are 0-0.
Hey. Guys, I'm down here with Ryan Ellis. Ryan, pretty back and forth game so far. How do you feel you guys are controlling the pace of this game?
Yeah, they're skating hard, so are we. Right now we got more shots than they do, and both teams are playing hard, so whoever's getting the bounces right now, it's going to come out on top.
And a lot of talk before the game about getting a strong start here tonight. What do you think of the performance so far?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. We've had some possession in their end, and they've had some in ours. So we got to do a better job getting pucks out and staying on our forecheck.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan.
So that's the story, and here are the Predators tonight. And again, Smith is out right wing to start this shift again with the Predators, Ribeiro and Forsberg.
And what a terrific luxury that affords you. Yeah, Smith is playing great on that line. Keep him there, but hide a guy, a 40-goal scorer like Neal, deeper in your roster.
Whoa, and a quick smack in front, and covered up by Bobrovsky. And who was down there in front involved in all of that? The guy who you weren't anticipating contributions from on Saturday, Victor Bartley.
I'll tell you what, I just have gained a lot of respect for Victor's game. You know, here's a guy, 25 games as a healthy scratch this year, but he jumps back into the lineup when called upon and has played confident, impactful hockey. 2 big plays in the Minnesota game that led directly to goals.
Battle, there's another one of them down in the corner and pulled up the wall.
Speaking from a guy that's spent a lot of time as a healthy scratch, hard to maintain confidence. Good for Victor.
How did you do?
A lot of self-talk, a lot of therapy.
A lot of therapy.
Seeing a whole team full of psychologists.
Okay. Well, if I were playing for Mike Keenan, I might try that too. Back to the blue line, Jack Johnson. Low, Foligno. No. Comes now for Morin. Morin spun right away, and what a good idea that was. Rene had to sprawl to make the stop.
Did he ever? And he made the stop, but you notice bad angle chances result in those kind of rebounds. Fortunately for Nashville, Forsberg is there, not a navy blue jersey.
Savard, and it's right away on the stick of Matthias Ekholm. They get after him quickly. Jarnkrok made a play on Chaput to the blue line. And they stay onside. But Propp gloving that down. Propp now a quick shot off the pad of Rene, thumped over to the right side. Skilly burst in there, and now down the middle. Here's Jarnkrok, and trying to tuck it around Propp. The feed comes back out to the line. Ekholm was going off to the bench, and a shot off the pad of Bobrovsky.
Quick last-second decision by Ekholm to get back in, shore it up. He makes a strong play back to Jarnkrok for the follow-up chance.
Neal on the right board. Pulled by Skilly, but Neal bothered him. And now it's backhanded by Cracknell to the right side of Rene. Picking back up again. Looking up ice there. That try by Bartley. Bobrovsky had a lot of time behind his net, and it just bounced out against Seth Jones.
Sure did. Jokinen's camped out on that side, anticipating the wraparound by Bobrovsky. It gets by Jokinen out over the line. Columbus is able to clear at least momentarily.
Now Bourque in the corner. Wisniewski. Shove against him. Nystrom looking in front for Jokinen. That puck was tipped and then pulled out of that scrum by Jack Skilly. Ekholm got spun around. And the Predators back under control of the puck as the Blue Jackets get a change. Jokinen forced by Calvert to come back. Nystrom backhands it in, not as deeply as he wished. And Atkinson comes out with it. Broken up at the line. Savard waited for his teammate, but not long enough. Dubinsky to get back onside. We have a stoppage here with 13:20 gone in the first.
Again, key theme. Battles for loose puck. Gabby Bourque is doing that very thing. Watch a little kick backwards to Nystrom. Nystrom's able to walk out the backside, feed it out to Jokinen. Good bid by Jokinen. 3 key battles in all that series. Nashville, a lot of pace to their game as this one wears on.
Cullen leaves it for Wilson. Back toward Cullen, behind Fisher, and retrieved and started back up ice by Cam Atkinson. Atkinson shot. That'll be held by Pekka Rinne.
Still have some holiday shopping to do? I sure do. Check out all the new Lids Holiday 6-pack. Starting at just $34 per game, this ticket package includes an autographed bobblehead, Lids gift card, a 7th game for free, and more. Callers submit your order online during the broadcast tonight and also receive an 8th game for free. Call 615-770-7800 or visit NashvillePredators.com/6-pack to order yours today.
After all those packages you brought back to the hotel, you have still have some shopping to do?
Believe it or not, I got people. I got lots of people.
They can't wait to see what bounty you have brought them, I'll tell you. Crowd up the boards to center ice.
I should qualify. I got choosy people.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. Johansson delaying on the board. And that's blocked again. Well, the Predators have quite a few blocked shots here in the first period. Foligno working back in net. And the pass quickly for Ribeiro to Josi, creating the beginnings of a 3-on-2 as the Jackets close back defensively. Ribeiro fades back toward the point. Weber has to settle that puck down. Josi with a try missing the net. Ribeiro has it in the left half wall again. Turning now is Smith. His shot stopped. Forsberg was trying to sniff out a rebound, but Tootin held him out as Bobrovsky secured the puck. 14:36 gone. We're in the first period in Columbus. It's the Predators and the Blue Jackets. Still 0-0.
Roman Josi separated. Shea Weber, Ryan Ellis separating the two. Give you a sense of just how solid the all-around game of these two defenders are. Those three handsome characters. Only defenseman in the NHL. +10 rating, 15 points or more, 60 blocks or more, 20-plus minutes time on ice. There are only 3 people, 3 defenders in the league that qualify with that criteria. Pretty impressive just in terms of the all-around game. Both ends of the ice, defending and on the offensive side.
Giordano finally getting some notice, huh?
He has had a tremendous year. Calgary falling off the pace, but I'll tell you what, they were a much improved and even red-hot club, and largely he and defense partner Brody responsible for that.
Neal comes in to the corner. Hartley comes down there, the puck in his skates, and Neal's pass deflects toward the net, but wide of it. Neal on with Jarnkrok and Beck. Beck goes to the net. That pass, and that actually shot more than anything else, deflects away.
Smart play by Neal. He's cycling up the wall, spots Beck darting to the net front. That's why he goes at the net from a bad angle, hoping to create a rebound in front of Taylor Beck.
Bartley from behind the net. Victor Bartley getting a lot of time here in the first period, and by earning it.
Yeah, I was going to make that point. Earned the trust and the confidence of his coach the way he played last time out.
Dropped back by Fisher. Stopped at the center circle. Deflected again. As Tromp, well, he got rocked there by Bartley. Jack Johnson for Columbus. Deflecting back to that center circle. They'll try it again. David Savard lobs it in. From behind the net, Tromp. Tied up there by Seth Jones. Bartley pulls back to the area in front of the net, and that pass deflected his way. Matt Cullen now trying to cut around Jack Johnson to the end wall. Tipped around Colin Wilson. Ekholm, and that one is played out of play. And there's going to be a penalty here for delay of game. Wenberg will go in.
Right, it appears Wenberg's going to go, the delay of game minor. Under pressure in his own zone is Wenberg. See him, takes a peek, catches that puck off the wall, and then trying to scoop it up and out of the zone. Turns out up and over the glass. Surprising angle to be able to do that.
Very. So Predators on the Tennessee Lottery power play, their first opportunity of the night. Blue Jackets, 22nd in the penalty kill. They've killed off 34 of their last 38. As we have a whistle here, and they'll take it back for the icing to the Nashville zone. So Forsberg Fisher and Smith up front. Weber and Yossi at the points. Dubinsky and Calvert, the penalty killing forwards. And the puck taken back by Yossi. One thing we've really seen, Mike Fisher's face-off percentage has really soared, just under 54% coming into the game.
Yeah, he has been a beast inside the face-off circle. Minnesota a couple of nights ago, 18 of 25, that's 72%.
Forsberg in that area where oftentimes he likes to shoot the puck.
And how key is that, just picking up on Fisher, Pete, in the absence of Paul Goss, that you need somebody that can take those key draws in your zone when the game is on the line or at these key moments like a penalty kill. Fisher, important addition back in the roster.
Come behind the Nashville net. 50 seconds remaining in the penalty on Wenberg. Lino is on now with Atkinson. Down the right side, Fisher driving and trying to put it in front, and it came back out, Craig Smith. On the right wing side, looking. Smith played it back out. Ribeiro to the blue line. Seth Jones taken off the wall by Ellis. 20 seconds remaining. This man advantage for Nashville. And the play broken up.
Miscalculation by Ribeiro off the half wall. He's got his back to the inside of the ice. He thinks he's got Smith in the interior. Not so. Blue Jackets penalty killer Calvert sends it down the other way.
Seth Jones has to wheel behind the net, and the Jackets have killed it off. And the Predators did not get a shot on net on that power play. Still 0-0 and icing on Nashville with 88 seconds to go in the period. In our first intermission for you tonight, the Mercedes-Benz of Nashville interview. We go with the shortened version of Beneath the Ice, and it's titled We Three Swedes. Highlights and stats coming up as well.
AKA a day in the life of the Swedish Mafia.
Yes. This one we should almost have longtime New York author Pete Hamill narrate.
Matty the Marauder and Callie the Iron Hook, two members of the Swedish organized crime syndicate.
Down the right side, Jack Skillet tries another tough angle shot. That one did not get through, unlike the one he had earlier from the left wing corner. Predators breaking up ice now, but the pass by Jarnkrok was deflected away by Wenberg. Exactly 60 seconds to go in the period.
There's young Callie. Yeah, Taylor Beck does a great job. I want to show you this. Off the wall again. Battle for a loose puck. He arrives at it first, and then look at that feed into the interior to Calle Jarnkrok. Ultimately whistled down on the offside. But smart play, great vision by Beck to spot Jarnkrok in support.
Over the head of Dubinsky, swatted away by Rene. Calvert couldn't spot Atkinson. Back behind the blue line, so Dubinsky with a regroup for Columbus. 38 seconds to go in the first. From the left wing, chipped away now for Olli Jokinen. Jokinen sends it in deep. Bork after it. Better Tootin turns and gives it up on the left wing side. Calvert's pass in, tipped into the air. 20 seconds remaining. Olli Jokinen for Shea Weber. Yossi to the right wing side. Backhanded in. Hard hit taken by Bork there from Jack Johnson. Back to the blue line, Weber. And it's a cross-ice pass intercepted by Morin. Breaking in as time runs out of the period. So it ends up 0-0 after 20. And that after a goal disallowed in the first minute 16 of play. Shots 12-9 to the Predators. And stay tuned, our first intermission is coming up in just a few moments from Nationwide Arena.
This Nashville Predators broadcast is brought to you by Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. By Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. And by your Middle Tennessee Toyota dealers.
Nothing here after 1. And just a reminder of what's coming up for you tonight on Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1. NFL playoff implications on the line tonight. Randy Moss and Donovan McNabb tell you what it means for your team. Injury concerns for Rodgers and Rivers. Will either of them be fully ready for Week 17? Our NFL Insider will get you up to speed on that. Plus highlights from across the NHL, NBA, and college hoops. That coming up on Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1. So to drop the puck to start period number 2. Dubinsky against Fisher just as they began this game. And we are underway with period number 2. Bobrovsky trying to flag that down back of his net. No. Savard falls down and Dubinsky gets it out on the right wing side. Atkinson sort of hooked away from himself as he tried to come in. Now there's a try that was blocked in front, sweeping around another block as the Predators block a couple of shots in that sequence.
2 solid plays by Matty Ekholm, both on Dubinsky.
Right in front there for Wilson, no go. Ahead now, Calvert. Calvert with the shot, Rene the stop, and going careening into the end wall was Calvert. Fisher sweeps it out. Johnson broke it up. Colin Wilson carries in. Wilson shot deflects to the corner. A little bit ahead of Ryan Ellis and taken out by Nick Foligno. On net, stick to the corner. Jeremy Moore in turn. Weber right in his face. And now flipped out in front by Johansson, but didn't get much on it. Olli Jokinen off the right board. Tries to fight through Kraut. Taken away by Foligno. Lob to center, now inside the Nashville zone. Weber didn't get a nut on that one to get it all the way around Morin. Johansson back of the net. And Shea Weber quickly head manning as it comes across and is put into the zone by Eric Nystrom. He and Tutin go after it. Kraut lost it there to Olli Jokinen right in front. The shot stopped. Rebound try blocked. That was taken off to the left wing side by Gabriel Bork. So a good scoring chance, actually plural there, for Nashville breaking in. Foligno comes back now. He cut across in front, no, and that backhander goes wide off the stick of Jack Skilly. Skilly sends it down toward that trapezoid. Seth Jones checks in there and got checked by Trop. From the left board, set low by Connaughton, and that shot missing the net to the short side. Forsberg couldn't get around Wennberg, and then it was checked again, this time getting a piece of it, Skilly.
Flurry of good chances here in the early going. More action than we saw through the first. Teams trading quality opportunity at both ends.
Jarnkrok almost blocked the clear cleanly there. Back inside Ekholm. Wennberg pursued him. Now he and the Blue Jackets forwards go to the bench for a line change. Long pass through by Smith. This will be an icing against Nashville. 2:52 gone in the second.
We referenced the high-grade chances in the early going here, just under 3 minutes of play. Great job by Jokinen down low, and then you like Victor Bartley jumps down deep off that left point side. High-grade opportunity for him. Great feed by Jokinen on the backhand to find Bartley diagonally.
Giroux chased out. Cracknell will take his spot. And the Jackets get control of that puck off the faceoff. Savard gives it off right board, and that shot scooped up by Pekka Rinne. It was taken by Michael Chaput.
Smart play by Savard back to Chaput. Savard pulls the middle, draws some coverage with him, creates a little space for Chaput. Chaput pounds it on the net. Rinne with vision all the way, able to grab that, force the face-off. It was left to settle things down.
Through, and it's pulled back to the inboard by Calle Jarnkrok. Tapped away from Beck. Delayed offside. Blue Jackets tag up. James Neal's pass. Taken in Jarnkrok. His shot deflected off Johnson and fluttered up there for its glove down by Bobrovsky.
Part of a unique experience by entering the Design My Rally Towel contest presented by AT&T. Entries must be submitted by January 25th, and voting on the top designs will begin on the 27th. The winning Rally Towel will be given to all fans on April 4th when the Predators take on the Stars. Visit NashvillePredator.com/Rally Towel to start designing your towel today.
I can't wait to see some of those designs.
Can't wait to see your design. I got you a Rally Towel designing kit for that very purpose for Christmas.
Thank you.
Better come up with
Very
something
thoughtful
good.
of you.
Come up with something good, too.
With vast use of all the palettes available.
Preds are encouraged to have that man, James Neal, back in the mix. He'll start out, possibly remain on the Jarnkrok line, and I made this point earlier. That's a nice spot for him to be, playing against perhaps so-called lesser competition. Good spot for a 40-goal scorer to be, if you can afford that luxury.
Well, on this shift, he's lined up against Corey Trop. That one came off the skate of Beck. Trop behind the net with Shea Weber. Chopped at, Trop got it, and that forced Rinne to make a stop, and the puck is passed off the boards through into the Columbus zone.
Corey Trop operating well in tight, collects that rebound off of Rinne. Quick play at the net. Rinne rather shores up the short side to deny him.
Still he had to maneuver around a drop stick, and then his shot is held by Rinne. 4:07 on the period.
Give you a chance to look at that Rinne save from a little bit earlier. There again, puck drops in front of Trop, and Rinne flops to deny things, seal things off down low. Sharp play by Rinne. He's all over it. He'll smother that, but Fisher thinks better. No coverage, no pressure rather on him. Grabs it, outlet, out the weak side.
Put up the wall by Ekholm. Wilson tried to get it out of there. And back it comes toward the point. Calvert for Teuton. Teuton's shot. That might have gone off the pipe.
Yeah, it looked like that angle might have hit the cross piece above the right shoulder.
And now carried in by Wilson. His shot blocking pad save is made. Cullen couldn't get to the rebound. Preds able to hold it in. And then they put it right off the stick, as it turned out, of Mike Fisher. Predators with a change now. Puck is just sort of fluttered in off the stick of Calvert. Fisher slips it over. Ryan Ellis banks one toward Forsberg. And Forsberg got it to Fisher. Trying to break in down the middle, offside the call. As Smith was breaking in.
Calvert with the outlet pass. Here's that opportunity we showed you. Teuton jumping down on that left wing side. He beats Rinne over the shoulder cross piece, and then back the other way come the Preds off the transition. Colin Wilson with a good chance at the other end.
Levinsky, or Johansson, had to pull that one back. And it's Mike Ribeiro skating to center. His play is to angle it in low from outside the line. Given back by Wisniewski to Connaughton. Wisniewski was trapped in there. And the puck stolen away. Getting a piece of it, Forsberg. Forces yet another turnover. But then slipped off the boards at center ice. You'll see for Ribeiro. Sending in Smith. But it was wrestled away from him by Foligno. And Forsberg picks up. Predators could not get back onside. A stoppage here with 5:48 gone in the second.
Forsberg loses his stick, recovers another, and then jumps back into the fray. There you see him. Back pressure all the way. Gosh, this guy creates a lot of turnovers. It's the part about his game that goes rather undiscussed, rather obscure, but he creates a lot of opportunity just by virtue of the pressure he applies on the opposition when they possess it.
Jack Johnson shot it down the left side ahead of Cracknell. Chaput going in, put on the wall by Bartley, and now started back up by Jokinen, but that deflected away off the stick of Chaput. Good play there by Jared Ball, and then heading to the net, Chaput, as that shot deflected and handled by Pekka Rinne. 6:13 off the clock, still 0-0. Blue Jackets have outshot the Predators 7-3.
High-risk play by the Preds. It'll get you in trouble in any event. Watch these two guys here. That's Olli Jokinen and Chaput for the Blue Jackets. Forcing one into the interior is Jokinen. Chaput creates the turnover. Then right back come the Blue Jackets. Shot from well out, but traffic pressure coming down the inside lane. Fortunately for Nashville, Rinne's able to paper over that one and smother things up.
Cracknell in goal. Bull behind the net. Bounced there. Chaput knocked down by Shea Weber. Cracknell deflected away from him. Olli Jokinen sweeps it back. Roman Josi. Up the wall, back to the point. Wisniewski to keep in. Josi the retrieval. Curls back away from the pressure. And Jokinen now for Gabriel Bork. It's Nystrom going in against Wisniewski. Up the left board. Kept away from Trop by Seth Jones. Hammered in there, a little bit wide of the net, and a little trouble there trying to drop the puck for Sergei Bobrovsky. The goaltender here for Columbus has been so hot this month.
Might have caught that on edge, and sometimes they'll get lodged in that catching portion, the middle portion of your catching glove.
Just a little bit too far for Neal to get a play as Tootin had the positional advantage. Beck battling down the wall against Connaughton. Järnkrok. Neal comes over to help. Järnkrok stepped away. And Bartley lost his footing for a moment, but recovers and gets back to center ice to the Nashville zone now. Pass up the middle. Hitting it in is Colin Wilson, and he scored! Nice pass up the middle as Victor Bartley sets up Colin Wilson for the first goal of the game that counts. 7:47 into the second period.
Well, Victor Bartley's game really is growing in confidence, growing in importance. Look at this great outlet pass, brings Wilson right down the heart of the ice. And then Wilson, terrific burst of speed, and I think fools Bobrovsky in this way. He's showing far side, goes short side. Good spot for a left-hander to shoot just above the pad. Beats Bobrovsky for the first of this game.
And again, if you're just joining us, the Blue Jackets had one negated 76 seconds into the hockey game. Fisher stealing the puck. Turning now Ekholm, blocked in front of the net. So Colin Wilson picks up number 7. Victor Bartley gets the assist. Cullen protecting the puck, breaking in. His shot wide of the net of the Columbus net. And taken down by Calvert. Calvert was going to try a finesse play, I think, to Dubinsky. Wilson thinking of the long play into the skates of Fisher, who then dumps it in. Cullen knocks it away from David Savard. Coming away with the puck, carrying up ice now, Jeremy Morin. Ryan Johansson chips it low again. Josi turns around away from Morin. Made that look pretty simple, didn't it? His backhand feed to center. Coming back across for Neal. That fluttered wide as Neal and Smith are now out there with Ribeiro. And there's a shot to the front of the net. Smith trying to dig it out. Weber with a shot that deflected to the corner. Ribeiro wants to feed it out front. Taken away by Pumplino before Weber can get it. Ryan Johansson lost it. Fed right away to Ribeiro. Ribeiro 2-on-1 with Smith, and Smith scores. No chance in the world there for David Savard. The 2-on-1, Predators execute, make it 2-0 at 9:25.
Well, shifts after goals are critical, and boy, the Preds string together some shifts after their first goal. That's Ribeiro. He catches it at the Columbus Blue. Fake shot, great little pass over to Smith, and Smith is steering at 2/3 of an empty net and a sprawling Sergei Bobrovsky. Terrific play. Highlights the dynamic playmaking ability of one Mike Ribeiro to feed it over to Smith. And I'll tell you what, Smith is finding a home on that Ribeiro line. Forsberg on the left side. Terrific play for the insurance marker.
So a minute 38 between two Nashville goals. Colin Wilson first of all from Bartley, and there's Smith for Ribeiro at 7:47 and 9:25. To the point. Bartley tries to get one through. That's deflected wide. Seth Jones moves down the wall versus Cracknell. From behind the net, Jokinen. Jokinen comes out. Shea Weber will get the secondary assist on the Smith goal. Eric Nystrom facing up to it, put it into the skates of Jokinen. Bartley skating it across, gets it back from Jones to the right side. Jokinen, his try blocked by Connaughton. Seth Jones goes after. He cuts behind the net. Taken across. Jones looking, stepping in, his shot deflected away and back to the Nashville zone. Victor Bartley's pass for Eric Nystrom. 2-0 Nashville, and suddenly so here in the second period. Pass picked off, sending it out for Weber. That blast is blocked as Bobrovsky had position on it and went off his pad. Now down the right wing side, working his way or trying to get free with Skilly, and their Tootin shot deflected off the glass. Turning Wenberg, reaching for the puck, he gets it back, puts a shot right on, and Rinne corrals the rebound. 11:14 off the clock here in the second period. The Predators getting a goal from Colin Wilson at 7:47, and then another from Craig Smith at 9:25.
I'm down here with Kevin McCarthy. Coach, 2 goals in a very short matter of time. What are some of the things you saw to the guys in those 2 series that enabled them to get the goals?
Well, I think the one thing we did, we started doing it a little bit quicker. I thought the first period and a half there, we weren't playing with the same kind of speed and energy that we had played in the previous games. And I thought the last few shifts was going to start getting back to our style.
And seeing some big turnovers from guys like Philip Forsberg, how important has the forecheck been in this game so far?
Well, that's always huge. I think that sets our game up. That's what we are. We're a forechecking team, and when we can get that first 2 guys in on our forecheck and our third guy is smart, that's where we are able to play our game.
All right, thanks so much, Coach.
And the Predators trying to break in the zone, and that exactly is it. Forecheck, pressure, and that's what's resulted in a couple of goals here in the second.
And the second piece to that, the extension of that, is really the game in transition. This is one area of the game that is the Preds has grown immeasurably. Both those goals have that in common. Stretch pass, breakaway play for Wilson, then Ribeiro and Smith together, 2-on-1. Long stretch pass off the turnover.
There's one almost turned over, but Wenberg did a good job of then getting that puck and putting it on net. Then the quick pass out by Rinne, the man himself. Laid offside of the Predators. Up on the left wing. Brought in Trop. And trying to pursue. And Philip Forsberg comes out with it for Nashville. Ellis, the pivot right here. He backhands it wide of the net to the short side. Trying to guide that out was Trop. It is Shea Weber with the puck. Deflected to the blue line by Ellis. Blue Jackets getting a change. Johnson for David Savard. Savard carries in, and that shot right in the trapper of Pekka Rinne.
Want to show you that second Predators goal. And again, we're talking about the stretch pass. Things will transition back towards the Preds end. Stop it right there. Quick turnover. Now there's Shea Weber. You're going to watch Mike Ribeiro. Here's where the stretch pass comes into play. Quick transition up to Ribeiro. Look at your 2-on-1 now. And again, fake shot, pass by Ribeiro right on the stick of Smith. And it's behind you, young Sergei. Preds have been dynamic in that respect, better as the year goes on.
Wisniewski at the blue line, winding and firing, and Rinne makes the stop. So now the Blue Jackets have gone ahead of the Predators' shots on goal total at this point, 20-19.
There you get a chance to see the season record Preds when tallying the first. They don't do it always. In fact, they're pretty good when they have it done against them, but 10-1-1 when they're initiating the offense.
Josi just tapped out. Cam Atkinson circling it back into the Blue Jackets. 7:16 remaining in the second. Connaughton's pass. Chipped, and it was not handled there cleanly by Calvert. Nudged in by Colin Wilson. Wilson was trying to make a play to the net front. In the vicinity, he had both Fisher and Collin as that puck got away from Josi. Weber will go back ahead of Matt Calvert. Josi curls away from Jeremy Morin. Carrying up the center. Nice. Stopped just inside the line and passed over for Jeremy Morin. Blue Jackets coming back. Dropped off Johansson, and his shot deflects high. David Savard shovels that now for Nick Foligno. Jokinen tried to pass it around. It came out, but pulled away by Josi again. Now Gabriel Borg with the pass to Eric Nystrom. Nystrom down the right side, jousting with Jack Johnson. Up in the air it went. Still the battle on the wall. And again, one of Stu's keys tonight, winning the battles.
And they have won their share. Been involved in many. Come out on top, and I would estimate 75% or better.
Spinning like the top there, Nick Foligno trying to find a recipient for his pass. Looking up the middle. Nope, that was covered. Here's Jack Johnson. Dump in as Ribeiro reverses. To the right board, and now given back to Smith. Coming up the middle with it, Victor Bartley. Angled in from just inside the line. Better to the Predators bounce off him. Trop and Seth Jones. Taken back to center. Ribeiro flips it in. Prout again. Pressured now by Forsberg. Using those soccer skills of his. Forsberg comes out of the scrum. It's sent right back, but not back up onto the skate to Smith. Forsberg to keep in and knocked down them by Tuch. Trop blocked away from him as they close on him. Forsberg lost his stick in the process. And a long clear, no icing. Quick pass, Ribeiro. Got behind Connaughton, and a try there for Beck. Loved him, dropped by Bobrovsky. Coming down the side was Kraken. Jackets stayed on side. Ellis from behind the net. Dumped. Bobrovsky in the trapezoid. It's Cracknell backhanding it airborne to center. Corralled there nicely by Jared Bull. He moves on, and that shot stopped with Wisniewski penetrating from the point, hoping for a rebound. Not to be. Predators 2, Blue Jackets nothing. 15-50. Gone here in period number 2. Taylor Beck had a pretty good shot right there at Bobrovsky. 2-0 the score. 2-0 the score. You see on the left of your screen, Blue Jackets coach Todd Richards. On the right, Peter Laviolette for Nashville. And let's compare now, obviously, a healthier club on the right side of the screen. But the big difference, what's going on at even strength this year?
Absolutely key factor, the difference between these two teams and their stations in life. You see the Preds plus 29 even strength goal differential. That's first in the NHL. very different look for the Blue Jackets. They are dead last, 30th. Tough to be competitive when your goals for versus goals against look like that.
They make up a little bit of it with power play positions. That's not sufficient.
Right, and I was going to make the point too, and you did, Pete. Not a real accurate picture of the way things have gone for these Blue Jackets, improving as they have gotten healthier.
Exactly. Hey, Prince fans, get closer to the action with Predators Live, presented by Nissan. Tune in for all pre-game excitement and post-game analysis with Smashville's finest. Don't miss Preds Live before and after the game on Fox Sports Tennessee. Another post-game edition coming following this game. And believe it or not, there's a game tomorrow night for the pre-game edition before the game in Boston.
What do you mean? We're going to play tomorrow night, right after this night?
Yes, sir.
That smells like back-to-back.
Yes, it will just be the second set of the Predators back-to-back games this year.
Of 9, correct?
Yeah, just 9. Instead of the usual 15 or 17. Just 9. Or as they say in Deutschland, Sox 9. Say no.
Nothing like going into the Christmas break with a solid dose of ice hockey right before the break.
You'll only be cheating anybody. In pursuit of the puck now, Eric Nystrom ran into Savard, but gets it to Bourque. Johnson all over him, put it off the back of the cage. Back in front, and just bounced away from the blade of Gabriel Bourque. Foligno turning on the boards. Pursued now by Jeremy Morin. He falls down. Delay penalty call coming up on Nashville. Tootin. And that pass tipped out of play off the stick of Taylor Beck. This will be the first penalty of the night on Nashville.
Jokinen, the center on that line, is providing the low support deep in the corner to Pekka Rinne's left. Get a chance to see him on Morin battle for a loose puck down low. Pretty forceful shot from behind. You could argue that one both ways. It ends up boarding call goes against Jokinen. 2:36 remaining in the second.
For Jackets' first opportunity with the power play. We have Wisniewski and Connaughton at the points. Rubitsky on the half board. As that feed in front, and boy, turned back around there on that play was Cam Atkinson.
Looks like there's a partial block on that one before it gets to the Nashville net, but Rinne sealing off down low, stops it, directs it into the deep corner.
Bring it in now, and it slipped away from Dubinsky as he was coming down the left wing through the circle. Cullen is on with Eric Nystrom. Wisniewski drills one, knocked down in front off the Blue Jacket. That's Cam Atkinson is being shaken up. Atkinson struggling to get back up onto his skates. He is really laboring going over to the Blue Jacket bench. And a shorthanded try there by Cullen stopped Bobrovsky. Atkinson's stick was dropped, showing down a break, and that allows Rinne to make the stop and not allow a rebound. So Jokinen in the box, and Cam Atkinson took the brunt of a shot from his teammate.
Before that collision, though, Atkinson with a great opportunity. Connaughton from the left point. And then watch the redirect by Atkinson from the mid-slot. Rinne finds it, steers it to the deep corner. Sharp play. Actually, that might not make it to the net front. Blocked, hits a leg before it ever gets to the net front. And out of harm's way.
52 seconds left of the power play. Predators clear the zone. Fisher is on with Jarnkrok up front. Bartley with Seth Jones. David Savard for the Blue Jackets. Rinne slows it down anyway. And Jarnkrok comes back to take the puck away as Foligno lost control of the stick, and Jarnkrok clears the zone. Nick Foligno leads the Blue Jackets with 8 power play goals. He's on there now, but the pass goes to Morin instead. Deflects away. Coming over to bounce on that puck. 2-on-1. Beck with a shot, missed the net. as he was breaking in with Gabriel Bourque. Bourque gets it again. 3 seconds remaining on the penalty. And he gets a big face wash. There's going to be a penalty here. Jack Johnson and Bourque have collided on more than a few occasions here tonight. So the Jackets, on their power play, managed 2 shots.
Terrific play by Gabby Bourque. It's rather innocuous just the way it develops, but Bourque strong on his skates, holding Johnson on the outside. Johnson overly aggressive. Bourque's not really trouble from out there, but Johnson up into the face of Bourque to drop him on the ice, draws the roughing call and negates the remaining 35 seconds of the Columbus man advantage.
So Predators with the Genesee Lottery power play here. As Forsberg gets the puck back in the net. Under 30 seconds remaining in the period. Forsberg off the half wall. James Neal. Forsberg looking to create. Neal didn't get what he wanted on that. Onto the wall, 14 seconds left in the period. And they pull it out of those tight quarters. Shea Weber. And they say that popped out across the line, stopping the clock just under 8 seconds to go in the second period.
A wrinkle, Neal playing in the interior part of that Nashville power play inside the Columbus box. And watch him checking his shoulder if the Preds get possession in the offensive zone. May be difficult, not a lot of time remaining, but checking his shoulder, looking for Josi. Is Josi an option? And then checking the coverage down low from the Columbus defenders.
Josi comes in with it, trying to cut across, stripped of the puck there by Foligno, who clears the zone, and that ends the period. But there'll be a carryover of 1:25 on the power play for Nashville going into the third period, and they will go into that third period in front of this one by a pair of goals. Wilson and Smith for Nashville have scored both in the second period. So 40 minutes gone, and the Predators in front 2-0. Predators at 2-0 advantage over the Columbus Blue Jackets as the Jackets emerge from their dressing room to take the ice to start the third. Let's take a look at the stats after 40 minutes.
Shots, you see, pretty much a deadlock. Scoring chances, and I would emphasize quality scoring chances, heavily favor the Nashville Predators, 17-12 in that department. Face-offs won. Nashville has been strong in this regard. Columbus has been banging on the Predators to the tune of 28-15.
And speaking of that sort of thing, how about our Timothy Bro hard hit highlights?
Yeah, there's been plenty of contact. Remember, these are former Central Division rivals. Columbus has slid out of the West and into the East. But the bad feelings and animus carries over. Job by Gabby Bourque to draw the penalty late in the second period, which carries over 1:25 worth into the third period. We made mention, you and I were talking earlier today, Pete. Columbus out-hits the Chicago Blackhawks to the tune of 33-4, and they really seem to be carrying that on here tonight. But, you talk to Jody Shelley, my counterpart on the Columbus Blue Jackets broadcast. Yeah, all well and good, but why does Chicago need to hit? They had the puck all night.
Yeah. And a hit.
Columbus is chasing it
to try to dislodge the puck from their possession. So the Jackets 0-11 this year, when trailing after 2.
That's a rather sobering statistic if you're that man, Todd Richards. He'll need to reach deep into a bag of tricks to reverse that trend.
It's a pretty similar thing, though. I mean, the Predators are 1-6, trailing after 2. So underway here with the third, Predators with the man advantage. Very active, the Blue Jackets. Dubinsky with Calvert. Philip Forsberg shooting in and around Prout. Weber went after it on the opposite side of the shooting. Bounced away from Fisher and cleared down ice by Calvert.
I like the instincts by Weber. He presses down deep inside Columbus territory, recognizing he can apply pressure and hopefully keep things in on the wraparound. Regrettably for he and the rest of the Preds, battle won down low by Columbus. They're able to outlet, send the Preds all the way back into their own zone.
Fisher over with Wisniewski. Now Savard challenged by Neal. Neal Banks a pass to Weber. Yossi returning to Weber. Yossi looking, he'll shoot, and that one handled by Bobrovsky with Fischer right in front.
Fischer's had success in this spot, and he's all camped out there again, providing the obstruction in front of Bobrovsky. But there you see, tracking in front of Bobrovsky. Good spot right in the shooting lane. Bobrovsky checks in and around the left side of Fischer, able to find that puck, make a smart save, and as importantly, smother up to force the faceoff. No secondary opportunity for Fischer.
Puck fired down ice by Columbus. 15 seconds remaining as Rinne holds it up for Seth Jones. Hansen and Wenberg, penalty killers now. Comes in, tipped by Jones. That will constitute a try. Covered up by Bobrovsky.
Predators are back at the Bridgestone Arena after the holiday break to take on the Philadelphia Flyers on Saturday, December 27th. It's a McDonald's Family 4-pack night. Get 4 upper-level tickets and 4 McDonald's coupons for $99. All fans in attendance will receive a Shea Weber bobblehead. The puck drops at 7 p.m. For your tickets, visit NashvillePredators.com or call 615-770-7800.
Set off the boards, and that will do it. Johnson emerges from the penalty box. Predators back with possession and flipped in by Ekholm. Out of the corner. Barrow. Colin Wilson. Juggling here after the power play. Smith on the left board. Ribeiro tried to kick it ahead. Back instead for Ekholm. And bounces away from Ribeiro. Nick Foligno lofts it out. Ekholm turning. And he is being pursued there by Wenberg. And now some room for Colin Wilson. 1-on-4. His shot stopped. And Bobrovsky could not control the rebound. But help from his D. And the puck stolen back away by Gabriel Bourque. 2.5 minutes gone in the third. Predators lead 2-0. Bouncing puck, Bourque. And now Nystrom's shot deflects away. Bourque challenged right away by Dubinsky. Johnson on the other side. Jokinen tries to get it away from Savard. Help now. Handed in by Bourque. Pulled out of that strong. Savard's pass knocked down as he tried to exit the zone with it. Brought in by Nystrom. His shot, that blocked. And the rebound of that block is steered back to center ice. Blue Jackets on a change. Predators continue on the attack. Flipped by Seth Jones to the front of the net. And Bobrovsky wasn't quite sure what to do with that.
Colin Wilson, big goal here for the Preds tonight. Had a strong night out last time versus the Minnesota Wild. It just doesn't show up on the score sheet. Remember, Pete, a couple of big turnovers that led to goals by Wilson, but Coach Laviolette plays him through it, and then it's he making a big play in front on the Mattias Ekholm overtime goal, holding off the defender, allowing Ekholm that space. You like Coach Laviolette's approach, patience. You allow these guys the confidence. You don't quash creativity, and I'll tell you what, it really has paid dividends. Wilson turning in another strong game here tonight.
Well, that is, as you pointed out, tough for a coach to do.
I'd have benched him early.
Yeah.
I think your former partner would have benched him early. If I know that.
No, earlier.
Earlier.
Taylor Beck. Off to his right side. Seth Jones carrying, throwing it in with Predators the dump in and back of the net. Jarnkrok. It came out, but Bartley was there, reading the play and tried to thread it across in front. Seth Jones a blast. Rebound left there for Cullen. He couldn't put it home. A couple of good chances there on that foray into the Columbus zone. Both sides changing up forwards. Seth Jones for Bartley. Chipped it out. Cracknell stopped it. Forsberg back after him. And inside the Blue Jackets line to Prout. Deflects away off Bartley, and then Ribeiro tried to feed Smith as that one goes over the glass. 4:13 gone in the third.
Victor Bartley, you love his game. Coach showing all kinds of confidence in him, and he loves to activate. Fits well in this system. There you see him jumping up off the blue. Throws one to the net front, and then play transitions. Ends up being Jones. Good shot, great rebound, drops at the feet of Cullen, saws Cullen off. He's not able to get a stick on it, but it's good scoring opportunity in any event.
Low in the Nashville zone. There's Morin with a glancing hit on Yossi. And that's sliding back for Trout. Yossi pursued by Foligno. Colin Wilson down the right side, hammers it in. Reverse there, causing the referee to duck, but Shea Weber might make somebody else duck here pretty soon. Wilson. Fisher to the corner, slid across to the left board. Weber gets onto it, but Morin gets it out 2-on-1. Johansson with Foligno. Sliding back was Yossi. And that shot, did that hit the crossbar? I believe that it did. Yossi went down.
Crazy carom in any event. Smart played by Johansson. Patient played by Johansson. Has the Preds backing in on top of Pecorine. Here's the turnover. Cullen gambling down low. Creates the 2-on-1 coming back the other way. Yossi sprawled out in front. Looks to me like it may have hit Foligno as Foligno's going to the net in front of Rene.
Yeah.
Probably never gets there, but a harrowing chance in any event.
Ekholm continues to play it in low against defenseman David Savard. Turning back around with it now and almost stolen cleanly in front for Neal, but it slipped away from him. And another tried to flex right on. Bobrovsky under siege here. Jack Johnson carrying the puck. Left side, and Dubinsky a try rebound, and Rene got in front of it. Savard tapped away by Neal. James Neal feathers a pass out. Four back, deflects over for Yarncroke. Return to Beck. Beck pulls up, delaying on the right half wall. Neal for Bartley. Bartley keeps it in deep. Jokinen coming in on the change. Backhanded around Neal. Then back to the blue line. Seth Jones now for Bartley. Bartley the shot deflected and steered aside there by the stick of Bobrovsky. Broken stick dropped by Atkinson. So the Predators effectively have a man advantage now, but that puck deflects back to center ice.
Key block for Columbus.
Jones coming on, cutting in, and that one is in the net. Bobrovsky thought he had it, he did not. Seth Jones, and that a play, kind of like what we saw his rookie year at Montreal last year. Carried in on the off wing and was able to beat the goaltender. 3-0 Nashville.
Seeing more and more of this in Seth's game as the season wears on. Loves to advance off the attack. Does a great job. He actually fakes a little backhand pass. Maybe creates a little separation. Just drives it to the net. Bobrovsky cannot control it. It leaks through the legs of Bobrovsky. Seth may have got a second whack at that. In any event, it's a 3-0 score. And that's Seth Jones' first of the year for young Seth. Good for him. You know he's been squeezing his stick hard, waiting for that one to happen.
Well, if that doesn't relax him, nothing will. Drop in behind Weber. Seth Jones first at 6:29 of the third. Predators up 3-0. Weber ahead of Traub. Yossi stepped around Wenberg. One Skilly. And then Smith with the try. The rebound was handled well enough to prevent Forsberg from putting that home. Forsberg doing magic with the puck off to Smith. He scores! Philip Forsberg creates that play out of the right wing corner. Smith with his second of the ninth. The Predators get their fourth at 7:13 of the third period.
Well, no sooner is the third one announced than the fourth one is scored. Terrific job by Philip, and we talk about this a lot. Watch him force this turnover, collects it, finds Smith, line mate Smith, pulls it back across himself, and then Smith, what a terrific shot. He is at the face-off dot and just blows it by Bobrovsky over the shoulder, short side rather, and effectively chases Sergei Bobrovsky. In for relief comes Curtis McElhaney,
who played the game against Nashville on November 29th.
And played it well.
Yeah.
And played it well.
So 2 goals in 44 seconds, resulting in the change. Predators up 4-0. Predators in the second period had just a minute 38 between those 2 goals. So Jones gets his goal with assists from Nystrom and Neal. 4-0 Nashville. Trying to center it, deflects away.
Good spot by Olli Jokinen. Puck turns over to Columbus, but Jokinen's in a great spot to collect it.
Nystrom with the drive, blocked by Prout. They have changed that assist, the second assist on the first assist on the Jones goal, from Nystrom to Bartley. So Jones from Bartley and Neal.
The assist to number 9, Philip Forsberg. And number 59, Roman Josi.
So Forsberg and Josi get the assist on the Smith goal. And Josi will be thankful forever to Forsberg for the assist. Coming out of the corner and firing it wide across in front of the net. And a very angry Ryan Johansson took a little slash, missing his connection there with Ekholm. Ellis off the glass. Johnson came up trying to get it, slid across. Predators breaking in now, transition again, 2-on-1, and the score by the Predators, Mike Fisher. Fisher comes up with the goal and the 2-on-1 to make it 5-0.
In what I believe is the first shot McElhaney will face in this contest. Puck transitions out of the Nashville zone. Great play, great battle won by Wilson. Backhand pass to Spring Fisher, and it's Fisher, like Bobrovsky on the other side, just blows it over the shoulder of McElhaney. Short side, up high, with authority. Mike Fisher pushes it to a 5-0 game, 11:17 remaining in the third.
We've been talking about transitions, Stu.
Oh my gosh, I mean, this is an area of the game that just, out of nowhere, the Preds have just proven to be terrifically dynamic.
Calvert checked behind the net by Weber. Dubinsky went after Yarncroke. Penalty call coming up here. Dubinsky, and they would like to have a go at each other. Roman Josi and Dubinsky.
Yeah, you like defense partner Shea Weber stepping in there.
There'll be a penalty when we return from this. Seth Jones at 6:29. Craig Smith is second of the night at 7:13. Mike Fisher, third of the year at 8:43. 5-0 Nashville.
Colin Wilson playing some strong hockey. Roll it forward, guys, for these Nashville Predators. Puck is rung around here. Wilson, great play. Stop it right there. There's Wilson. Here's Fisher coming out of the backfield. He's going to make a great pass across to Fisher. Look at the backhand pass right in front of Fisher. Settles it down. He's on the move. And there again, great shooting lane. 2-on-1. Doesn't need the second. And it's up over the shoulder.
Dubinsky in the box for cross-checking Roman Josi.
That's a pretty stiff shot in a very precarious place.
Yeah, it was that. So third Tennessee Lottery power play of the game for Nashville. As the Blue Jackets labor and get the puck back to center. Johansson is on with Foligno, but now Johansson goes to the bench in favor of Calvert. Jones. And offside, breaking in for Craig Smith, who has 2 goals tonight out there on the power play. So the Predators, 3 goals in 2 minutes, 14 seconds. They had 2 goals in 44 seconds, which ended up with the removal of starting goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky.
That's a pretty impressive show of offense here. It really effectively blew the lid off of this one. 3 in succession, 5 unanswered. Blue Jackets very much on the outside looking in and at a man disadvantage presently.
And in a night where they thought they had taken a 1-0 lead.
It's funny, Pete, just when you think you got it figured out, you don't.
Right.
This was supposed to be a 2-1 hockey game tonight.
With the goaltender matchup and all. And the way the Jackets have been playing throughout the month of December. Just did not add up, at least to this point. Twisting it back to Shea Weber. Forsberg, and the pass sort of bounced up on him. And then allows the clearance by David Savard. 42 seconds remaining on Dubinsky's penalty. And not able to hold up without risking a pulled groin muscle there, Matt Cullen.
Enjoy the ultimate Nashville sports day with the Music City Power Play. Receive a lower-level end-zone ticket for the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl at 2:30 p.m. on December 30th, and then head to the Bridgestone Arena where you have tickets to watch the Predators take on the Blues at 7 p.m. For more info and to order your tickets today, visit NashvillePredators.com/MCPP. MCPP. That's PP as in Power Play.
The Music City Power Play.
There you go. There you go. I'll scratch that web address down for you for your future reference.
Yeah, thank you.
You'll want to dial by there.
Offside as the puck came across there for Forsberg. 20 seconds remaining on Dubinsky's penalty. So on November the 29th was the last time the Columbus Blue Jackets lost in regulation. And where was that? Bridgestone Arena.
It certainly was. In that stretch of time since 8-0-1 are the Columbus Blue Jackets involved in a lot of one-goal games.
And a lot of extra time games.
Am I correct? 4 shootout games, 3 overtime games in those 9.
Power play over. Predators continue possession, but they did not get a shot. That pass deflected over and allowing Wenberg to carry out and into the Nashville end. 8:33 remaining in the third.
I'm not sure if this eases a coach's frustration, but why worry about scoring on the power play if you can score 5 even strength and they're unanswered?
Yeah.
Why fret?
Right.
You think Coach Housley would buy that?
He probably would not.
I suspect.
But he's in a situation now where he can be picky. And there's a shot from the point. Stopped by Rene. Struggled for the rebound. Calvert couldn't get it. But given back to Calvert as he goes to the trapezoid. Met up by Seth Jones. Tried a backhand feed and taken away. Olli Jokinen. And fed in now by Eric Nystrom. And back to the net. Wisniewski. Jackets go to the right wing. Kevin Connaughton. Lays it across for Wenberg, and his shot was off the mark to begin with.
Calvert and Nystrom collided accidentally. Almost looked to go knee-on-knee inside the Columbus zone. Calvert goes off gingerly, still on the Columbus bench.
Remember earlier Atkinson had trouble as well blocking a wrist shot by Shea Weber. That Savard shot fluttered to the corner.
Make the point, Shea's wrist shot probably has as much velocity as my slap shot ever did.
And a quick shot knocked down in front by Bartley. He got that in the midsection. Trop with Bartley rolling it the hard around the boards. And Savard at center. Let it go down the side. Chaput. Chaput back to the point. Johnson didn't have a clear shot. Cracknell tried from the short distance. Rene blocked his path. Now Prout with a shot with Chaput right in front. Left side a shot deflected. Rene put it up on the glass. Back to the blue line. Tootin. Rene the stop. Goes up on the glass to his left and bounced away out to center ice. Taken by Beck. Beck in. Knocked down there as kicking away at the puck was Bull. Down the left wing side, Beck. Wheels away. Right side, Ellis with a blast. And that one held against the chest by McElhinney. 13:49 gone in the third period. Mike Fisher on the first shot faced by Curtis McElhinney made this game 5-0. 5-0 Predators, 6:11 to go in the third. We are joined from the bench now by goaltender Carter Hutton. Yes, it's 5-0 Nashville now, Carter, but early it looked like it was 1-0 Columbus, did it not?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where the post comes off, and, it's one of those rules. It's a tough call, right? Me and Pex kind of talked about it between periods, and the way I look at it, just misses his glove, so if the post stays on, he might get a little more push and get to it, and, rules are rules. The puck's going to go into that either way, but, when the net's off, it's scoring, it's no goal. That's how it works, so.
Talk about a good goal, a legitimate goal at the other end. Craig Smith gets one tonight, and he's really well outside the face-off dot and just rifles one over the shoulder of Bobrovsky. You face him all the time. Great release, right?
Yeah, he's busted a couple cages on me, that's for sure. He gets it up in a hurry, and he's known for going high glove, high blocker. That's kind of his shot. And I think for him, in Minnesota, getting on line with Ribeiro, getting pucks and getting a lot of chances has really kind of fired him up. You can tell just the way he's forcing pucks down low, and when he's on, he's very dangerous. That's for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Carter.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Here's Ribeiro cutting across. Wanted to pass it, deflects over to Foligno. Carter Hutton joining us live from the bench here in the third period. Predators in front, 5-0. And that pass deflected out off Neal to center. Forcing the Jackets to get back on side. Foligno guided it back for Johnson. Now it's Atkinson with a shot. Handled rather routinely by Pecorine. 14:52 off the third period clock. Predators in front by 5. Nothing. Let's get to our Bridgestone performance moment of the game. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion.
Puck turns over, and there you go. Weber starts it off down the other way. Great play by Ribeiro over to that man, Smith. And you can see from his point of view how fortunate he is off the pass of Mike Ribeiro. Staring at most of an empty net. Terrific play by Smith. Great feed by Ribeiro. That's how you draw it up 2-on-1. That's the textbook play.
Face-off win. Josi the lob. I thought Jokinen was looking over his shoulder thinking it was coming that way. Bringing the puck around Calvert. Puck out in front. Bounced away as trying to get the shot was Connaughton, and we got a holding penalty, if you recall. And 15-10.
Blue Jackets gain the back of the Nashville net. Preds lose inside position on the pressure applied by the Blue Jackets. And for that reason, scrambling, Gabby Borg takes the hold and will serve the minor penalty late in the third.
Jackets have had one power play previously. They had 2 shots on it. Jack Johnson dishes off left, trying to go back door now is Wisniewski, but that pass, a hard one, got away from it. Saved by Johnson. Stick handling Johansson. Yes, Johansson and Johnson on the power play. Wisniewski doesn't quite rhyme, does it? Wisniewski feeds Jack Johnson at the center point. And now the start of the score by Wenberg. Wenberg, a power play goal. Takes care of the shutout. So the Blue Jackets get the only shot on net they need. Alexander Wenberg gets the power play goal at 15:38.
His first of the year, and there you see him in the interior. Great little pass to him on the inside. All kinds of traffic provided by Foligno in front. Johnson down, back into the middle to Wenberg. Foligno's in front, taking away the vision, the eyes of Pecorine. Wenberg, great release to get the Jackets on the board and break the O.
So it's a 5-1 now. Hockey game. The first NHL goal for Wenberg. I'm sure he's happy to get the goal, but rather have it in different circumstances.
But certainly
power play goal is the first of the season.
Power play.
And the first of his NHL careers.
Back now from Ellis.
Alexander Wenberg.
Runners bounced out across the line on that call. Bouncing puck comes to Jared Boll.
He assists number 19, Ryan Johansson. And to number 7, Jack Johnson.
So Johansson and Johnson, the assists on Wenberg's goal. Almost an all-Swedish play. Here's Cullen. On with it now for Wilson. Bartley fakes, gives to Fisher. Up the wall and out to center ice. 5-1 Nashville. Predators have outshot the Blue Jackets 32-31. And that dribbling puck across the line turned into an offside against the Predators.
Smartly played by Bartley. Nice up pass diagonally across the ice, trying to get the Preds on the move again in the transition. Off the stick of Fisher, and it turns over at the Columbus line, and they'll face it off right then and there.
In on McElhinney, who steers it across. And put it out front. Wisniewski got away from Bourque. Pressing down is Bartley, and that puck dribbles out front, taking a whack at it there. Jokinen, no, and then pulled away by Dubinsky. The shot deflecting up, staying in play. Seth Jones picks up for Nashville. And that one does go out of play.
Chance for the Preds not that long ago, a little earlier in this series. See Wisniewski go down there in behind the net, and look, puck comes around to him, tries to play it with the arm. He actually scoops it out in front. A couple of quick opportunities for Nashville, just unable to convert. Olli Jokinen in and around the Columbus net front.
Take it away from Forsberg. Here's Morin, and his shot over the top of the sliding to the ice. Ryan Ellis. Johansson with the try off the stick of Rinne. Forsberg knocked down. Going to be a penalty here against the Blue Jackets. And fans boo that. 2 minutes remaining in regulation. Ekholm on the delayed penalty. Ribeiro's pass was blocked. So the Predators with a power play with 1:55 left in the third.
Play transitions back the other way, right off the draw. 2-on-1 are the Blue Jackets. And all that is shot from the short side. Beats Pecorini over the shoulder, but it's posted out. And there you see at the other end of the ice. Penalty on Jeremy Morin. Preds back on the power play, 1:55 remaining.
So 9 fouled 9 there. Morin calling Forsberg and drawing the penalty.
Huh. Counterparts even.
Yeah. Numerical counterparts. Sloppy back inside the Nashville zone. And they're using the end board to bank Diosi. So a chance to maybe experiment a little here with the power play.
Nothing like game conditions.
Yeah. Fisher has Neal right in front, and McElhinney got the stick in the way. Yossi straight away. Forsberg caught that down low in the skates. Neal getting down to the goal line extended. He gives it back to Weber. Under a minute to play in regulation. Fisher goes to the corner, and that one deflected by Nashville out of play, right by the penalty box, where Stu Grimson was earlier tonight.
Yes, he was. NHL Network in Arena Camp. Nice outlet pass by Neal to Fisher. Fisher over the wide side, and then watch this play. Fisher into the interior. Tries to connect with Neal. Does not go. Stick in the lane is McElhinney to send that out the other side and out of harm's way.
Tootin around the boards. Kept in Seth Jones. Ribeiro. Wilson going down to the side of the goal. Has Ellis in front. And that stopped by Bobrovsky. The rebound. Hacked back at the net. Trying to sweep it in then was Colin Wilson.
Two great bids. The second of which is Smith out of the air.
Fed back Wilson. Turns against Tootin. They swipe at it. Barrel, right half board. Wilson making that move, flipping it out in front. Ellis across there for Smith, and that one stopped as Smith take it into the net. Play allowed to continue. 3 seconds remain. Smith with a shot. That one stopped. His final bid for the hat trick. And then Tootin a shoving motion at Colin Wilson as time ran out. So the Predators take this game 5-1. 2 in the third, or 2 in the second, 3 in the third. And the Blue Jackets end the shutout bid of Pekka Rinne with 4:22 left on Wenberg's first ever NHL goal. 5-1 is the final. We invite you, stay tuned for our post-game edition of Predators Live.